Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an absolutely mind-blowing upload to share with you. Before we get into it though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook version. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description below. Finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss any of the informative and exciting uploads I put out twice daily, click that bell icon. And finally, last but definitely not least, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And guys, they really do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? All right, guys, today I have a pretty jam-packed upload for you. A state trooper's experience, one that was actually verified, everything he said by the news. Also, in recent uploads, I've been sharing older Victor uploads, and people have asked some questions about the Pennsylvania experience that he talked about a couple different times. And I'm going to share the details on that because they were really never talked about in any of the interviews that Victor and I did. It was information he shared with me privately, and it's been a long time now. To be honest, I still don't know who the person that was famous in New York that was killed by a dogman. Maybe someday I'll find out, but I do know about the Pennsylvania craziness that happened. And it is crazy. Also, with that, the whole Victor thing, I'm going to share with you guys undeniable evidence that Victor is who he says he is. With Luke saying, hey, Victor or Victor's team is at my house helping me. That proved a lot, but I have physical evidence to share with you guys today. So let's get into today's upload. All right, so let's start out with the Pennsylvania experience that Victor talked about briefly. Not too many details given on that, and a lot of people are like, hey, what went on? And I'll share that right now with you. Also, really quick, I made an announcement in yesterday's video, right at the tail end, that my dad is home. We had to get him a hospital bed. He's got a home health nurse that comes in and stays there with my mom to take care of him for the next however long it takes for him to heal up and get better. But thank you for all your prayers. It's truly appreciated. And MS, I forgot to thank you. Thank you for the get well card that you sent my dad. I did give it to him and he appreciated it so much. So thank you for that. So Victor, there will be some details off that I'm not going to share or fill in any blanks that I'm not aware of. I'm not going to add anything that I don't know. I do know that it occurred in Pennsylvania in the Eastern State Penitentiary. It occurred one one evening. There is tours and ghost kind of paranormal investigations that go on there, tours and yada yada. And in the basement, there is a kind of door that opens to tunnels. Underneath the prison is a whole bunch of tunnels used by prison guards for prisoners and stuff like that. There's another structure on the premises that leads. One of the tunnels leads to there. That's very important to know. So one day or one evening, one of the whatever they're called, caretakers of the building, was kind of going around making sure there was no people left from the day's tour, making sure everything was locked and pretty much sealed up, what his job is meant to be. So he goes into the basement and he's checking and making sure. And this door is locked. People don't use it. They don't take tours down that tunnel. And never had. He hears something on the opposite side of that door. And there's some sort of kind of ruckus that makes him aware of something behind there. Like I said, I don't remember all of the details. It's been a long time and I haven't talked to him in a while. The guy either just heard the commotion behind or saw something. So I apologize for not knowing exactly what happened, but he either saw something or just heard the commotion, like I said, or something happened to him. I'm not really sure. But anyway, his agency is called in. And they are kind of overwhelmed when they get there. The team goes in and it's Victor and a bunch of guys more than normal. Because when they do get there, there is an overwhelming amount of dogmen. So much so that during this period of time, and this was when COVID was going on, during this period of time, the National Guard was called in to secure the outer perimeter of the Eastern State Penitentiary to deal with public, if any public. They end up going into, they post off underneath the basement, in the basement, excuse me. And they're, after looking at maps of the tunnels and stuff like that, because on these missions, they can't just go in blindly. They know the layout of the perimeter of the inner workings of the prison, where this is, where that is. So after looking at the layout of the land, they formulate a plan. There's men down in the basement waiting, and there's men in the building that one tunnel leads to. And I believe that the door where in the other building, that's how the dogmen got in, unnoticed. They had used that building. I think it's a small kind of like old guardhouse or something like that. A building that's not used. They go in from there. And because of the shutdown and COVID, no one's really aware of what's going on. There's, minimal tours, if that. Paranormal teams go in and pay a bunch of money. They're not going to stop doing stuff like that, especially if it's, 5 people, 4 people doing a paranormal investigation. But there's not a whole lot going on. So they end up meeting a overwhelming amount of dogmen, and they have to just fight for hours. I believe a couple of agents were killed. All of the dogmen were eradicated. And like I said, the National Guard stood outside of that perimeter and made sure that nothing or no civilians were able to even get a glimpse of what was going on. And without, it didn't even really bring up any kind of questioning, because during that period of time, there was photos or videos on the internet with train cars with military vehicles on them. We really had no idea what was going on during that period of time. This is right kind of almost in the beginning. And they end up, after, I believe it was pretty close to 5-6 hour, just grueling, unlimited amount of dogmen coming out, and they're just firing away. As the bodies are being collected, a select few National Guard members are brought in from the outside to help load the dogmen, the dispatched dogmen, into helicopter, cargo nets and stuff, and hauled away. Those National Guardmen are then brought to the nearest naval base, and their memories are wiped. And I saw some people say, well, how do they wipe their memories? It's some sort of tone. It's some sort of, it's not the eyes, like people say. It's a tone. It's some sort of, they can do it over the phone. So those National Guard members that helped load those creatures up, the only ones that saw them, because the ones on the perimeter had no idea why they were there. They were just doing their job, doing what they were told. And that's the whole story of what went down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Victor and his team. And like I said, it wasn't just Victor. It was the team, pretty much, with 50, 60 National Guard members. With the Alaska hunt, I saw a few people comment. I saw a couple like nitpicking battles going on. Yeah. And I don't like conflict within the channel. And every once in a while, if I see a comment that's just really negative towards me or somebody in particular on the channel or something, I just get into it too, because I'm human. I'm only human. But For those folks that are like, why didn't he just lie and say he did do it? Why did he have to do it, and this and that? Well, those people that are saying that probably never served in the military. When you have a government job or you are in the military, you are told to do something. You do it. You do it, or you're in a you go to a federal prison or a military prison, somewhere where you're probably never going to see your family again. Or they just dispatch you, which, when I talked just recently about that FBI agent, the photographer who was killed in Nantahala, and the husband there was, the FBI said we released him, he's free to go, but yet the money's still in the bank account, the house no one's living in, and this and that, and the sister's suing to figure out, how can I use this bank account to pay the taxes, because this is my sister's home. The government will silence people. They don't care. They really don't. Which sucks. It does. So that's the gist of everything with the whole Victor, Pennsylvania battle. And it was a battle. It wasn't even a hunt. It was just a really dangerous part of his job. Let's jump into some more of this upload. Now, today's second part of the upload is a experience that, once I speak to you guys on the channel, via the phone, and we establish, I really feel like a friendship. Even in the live streams that are going on, friendships are formed. And I have a lot of respect for the great majority of you guys, the ones that I do know and stuff like that. And I will with the ones that I meet, we really have an awesome community here. But when I speak to subscribers and they send me their experiences, I become friends with these folks. And this was one that was sent to me back in 2019. And it's really crazy. It really is two emails, excuse me. One 2018, one 2019. Excuse me, sorry. This is the first one. And this is... Hey Jeff, I'm at work, working a double. Sorry it took me some time to get back to you. I'm on lunch now. My name's Kevin. I'm an African-American male, 34 years old, 6'3", 275. I've been in law enforcement going on 5 years now. Recently transferred to Pennsylvania about a year ago. 4 months after settling into Pennsylvania, there was a call through dispatch that came through as a minivan on the side of the road in a ditch that the driver believed he had hit a black bear, lost control of the vehicle, and went off to the side of the road. A few minutes later, I approached the van, trying to get in, husband and wife. Their 13-year-old son, so at the time, I was the closest on the scene, 5 minutes west on 78. I got to the described area. It took me 10 minutes to find them. I approached the vehicle and saw claw marks a half-inch deep. I announced myself to them, and they are hysterically sobbing. I try and calm them down and ask, "Where's the bear?" "It must have heard you coming, so it took off," the father said. I called the emergency services and they were 20 minutes out. They didn't want to get out of the car, so I assured them that their bear was gone. I can see who is injured. As I'm trying to communicate with the family, I hear this low, powerful growl behind me. I'm facing the family. My back is to the wood line, looking at the husband's eyes, and they become big as saucers. I knew the bear had returned. I slowly unholster my service pistol. At the time, I was using a 9mm. I turn and realize this is no bear. Standing 40 feet away on all fours is a monstrosity. Then it stood up and let out this roar and messed my mobility up. I couldn't move. And me with this pea shooter against this 8-foot tall creature. I'm the only thing that's between him and this family as I look into these terrifying red hellfired eyes, hair blacker than the night, and I knew what this creature's intentions were. I'm going to kill and eat you, and there is nothing you can do to stop me. Shooting at it would have just upset it. I had no choice, so I aimed for the head. It charged me, and I fired 2 rounds. I missed, the other grazing its ear. It started running in a zigzag pattern, fired 3 more times, missed, fired 1, hit it in the ass, and it yelped. Fired 1, and it hit it in the thigh, and it took off. Shortly after, EMS shows up, and it never returned. Police report, deformed bear with rabies attack. Critically was fired upon and took off. A large amount of paperwork for firing my weapon and the amount of rounds used. I've had nightmares for months, finding me at home and ripping me to shreds. Well, that was my first encounter. Please email me if you have any questions. So, I do. And we talk for a little bit. Actually, I emailed him and then I gave him my number and we talked. And then we discussed a little bit. That was my cat walking in, guys. We discussed a little bit about what went on. So thank you. I appreciate. Also, I found out that 80% of the police departments know about this. And they have certain people within the organization that take over cryptid reports, because once I turned my report over, I spoke with a person who I had never met before asking me about specific questions about his terms. I quote, tell me everything you can remember about this so-called black bear, which I did. After the questioning, I went to my supervisor asking who this man was and why so interested in the animal. His response is all above our pay grade to be sure and comply, and you will be fine. At lunch tonight, I will share my last experience, which turned into a missing person and a government cover-up. If you guys hear that noise in the background, that's my cat scratching on his scratching post in the other room. He's a Maine Coon, and he's got huge paws, and he's a jerk because he knows I'm recording right now. All right. This is 2019. I get this email from Kevin. Hey, Jeff, how's it going? I hope you're feeling better. Ever since my first encounter, I am heavily strapped 90% of the time with a high-powered rifle, always watching my 6. Since I've been awakened to a new reality. My second encounter, if only happened by chance, because that night I was 40 minutes until my shift was over. There were some local officers responding to a young man in his mid-20s who threatened someone's life. This took place in the town of Bethel Park, PA. So as the 2 officers approached him, he took off, cutting through areas inaccessible to the cruisers. Then, later, got into a vehicle and took off. They were finally able to locate the vehicle at what I believe was South Park in PA, minutes from the last known area. That's where I met up with the 2 officers, and we decided we were going to spend 30 minutes trying to locate him. At the time, I found out his name was Michael Rickard. I went to my vehicle and grabbed my Desert Eagle, strapped my AR over my back. The 2 officers had this, "Dude, we don't think he's that dangerous," I whispered back at them. "It's not for him." 5 minutes into the search, I saw the telltale signs that something was not right, and I urged the officers that we should start heading back. They started laughing, saying, "We got this. You're safe with us." Then in the distance, we hear a man scream bloody murder, followed by a roar and a howl in another location. My Desert Eagle is already unholstered since we started this trek. I saw a young man in the distance hauling ass to us, something 100 yards away giving chase. As I was about to fire upon the one giving chase, another one had snuck upon us without a noise and stepped out from the brush. The officers were too scared to unholster their weapons. The creature stood at least 7 feet tall, maybe 300 pounds, brown fur and shark-like teeth, large eyes and a long muzzle like a German shepherd, extremely ugly. I had a new target. The first shot better count, as it was 20 yards away. As I was ready to fire, I heard another scream and looked back in the direction of Michael. He and the Dogman were gone. I looked back at the other, and it was gone as well. I was able to get the 2 officers to retreat to our vehicles. We called the supervisor and told them what happened. They met up with us 7 miles from the station, and the same gentleman from the previous encounter was with them, and he had a partner. They debriefed us and told us we are sworn to secrecy and that we were never here and never to call and to never list the call. We will now call it a missing person. Michael Rickard. March 12th. I'm just going to show you something. March 12th, 2018. This text or email, March 30th, 2018. The news article, March 12th, 2018. Bethel Park police are searching for a man Sunday who was reported missing. Michael Rickard, 25, was last seen Wednesday, March 7th. Police said at around 10 a.m. Police said Rickard was wanted on outstanding warrants as of Wednesday. Rickard lives in Bethel Park on Route 88 near Planet Fitness. Rickard was charged by Bethel Park Police on March 5th in a burglary incident that occurred in December of 2017, according to court documents. According to the police, Rickard is a white male, 5'9", weighing 180 pounds, and is a former Marine. Rickard has hazel eyes, dark brown hair, with a beard. Police said Rickard was wearing black pants, army boots at the time of his disappearance. Rickard has tattoos on his upper arm, chest, leg, and stomach. Anyone with information regarding the whereabouts is asked to call the local police at 412-833-2000. That email that he sent me in 2019, they then find his body April 6th, 2020. Human remains found near trolley tracks in Bethel Park. Bethel Park, PA. Bethel Park Police Chief tells Channel 11 human remains were found in the brush near trolley tracks. The investigation was turned over to the Allegheny County Police and the Medical Examiner Office to determine more information. Police said the possible remains were found by a person walking near the area, and there is nothing suspicious so far in the investigation. The deceased had been identified as 27-year-old Michael Rickard. Anyone with information concerning the incident is to call County Police Tip Line 1833. All tips, callers can remain anonymous. You can't explain dates. Dates, or you can't explain dates. Dates don't lie. Just like when someone said that I made up the Border Patrol. Dates don't lie. I shared the information I was given on a certain date. He stayed in contact with me a day before. It's in the news that his friend was deceased, he lets me know. Drunk driving. My other friend's missing. He's dead of a heart attack. Dates don't lie, folks. Dates don't lie. And unfortunately, the government does. And they really do want to keep the truth hidden from us. All right, guys, tonight's final encounter, and then I will share with you all the evidence that, to me, is undeniable proof that Victor is who he says he is. Jeff, my name's JW. I've had a couple of encounters that I'd like to share with you. You can narrate them on your channel if you choose. 2002. I've been thinking about writing this one out for some time. I'm no writer, but the experience goes like this. Now keep in mind that I'm going to see how a more condensed version is first and then go from there. 2002, a few weeks before Christmas. I was having trouble sleeping, so I decided to go hunt coyote by myself. No one knew I had left. It was around 11:30 p.m. No cell phones of any kind. Bad idea. I start my trek down a well-used trail until reaching a steep section covered with multiflora rose bushes. However, I had previously cut a path, and it was not hard to navigate, even with the snow that had been falling. I continued down the hill until I reached a large ravine that sits not too far from behind my home. Moving to the left, I went about another 100 yards or so, where it plays out. You can cross a shallow stream to get across. I crossed the stream and proceed up a long snow-covered hillside trail. Getting to the top, I went into action, setting all my gear up, finding a spot with a good backrest and a nice firing lane. My back is rested against a large pile of crush and run. My shotgun leveled across my knees. I sat there, getting colder and colder the more snow fell and covered me. So about 45 minutes to an hour, I decided to call it quits and pack up. This is when things got crazy. I grabbed my 1 million candle power field spotlight. When I turned it on, luck was on my side. I saw it 10 feet away, nose to the ground, in my direction on all fours. The light coming on didn't even startle or faze this creature. It was like it knew right where I was and knew the light would be on at any second. It then took a step towards me, lifted up onto its hind legs. It did not break or crack when standing. The only noise that I could note was a low, deep sounding pop in its ribs and sternum area. It stretched out and puffed its chest as if it wasn't big enough. I'd have to say that it was at least 7 to 8 feet tall, with 5-fingered hands and 2-inch claws at the end of each. This Dogman never opened its mouth, so I can't comment on its teeth. It took a step towards me, and having my shotgun already leveled, I fired a shot that hit it in its right mid-upper portion of the ribs. Mind you that hitting something this close with a shotgun usually causes a major hole, and nothing walks away from that. The shot let loose a mist of blood in the red-tinged light of the spot lamp. It let out a loud yelp, then tucked its ears and ran to my right. It made it out of the light circle. In 2 strides, I fired 2 more times at it, but it was much too quick, and I missed. I got up and started walking in its direction, forgetting momentarily to reload the shotgun. I walked for about 10 feet and found a large pool of blood. Then walked a few feet more, and there was no more blood. Walked a few feet more, and there was no blood, just footprints. It's as if this thing regenerated or something to heal itself of such a massive wound. I stopped and realized just how stupid this was, going after this creature that was wounded. I don't know if they hunted in I didn't know they hunted in packs then. I just thought I had encountered a real-life werewolf. I trudged home in the night with a surely wounded God knows what potentially circling me the whole way. I took my time getting back. It took me 2 hours to walk, a normal 20 to 30 minute walk. I made it back home, went to bed, and never spoke of it that night until 2019. I hardly hunt anymore due to health problems, but even if I was healthy going back out there, you would be looking over your shoulder. However, I am working on getting a group of professionals out there someday. Here's my second encounter. My second encounter, 2003. While walking to a friend's house, I was met by a large canine coming out of the woods in front of me, about 50 feet. The creature looked like a combination of a bull mastiff, a Rottweiler, and Doberman. Only this animal was between 3 and 4 feet at its shoulders while on all fours. It seemed to be at least 3 times the size of a mastiff. It was solid looking. I watched it as it covered 50 feet in less than 5 seconds, and it was on me. It got right up to me and lunged forward, attacking me using only its mouth. I had no weapons and no good defense alternative, so I did the only thing that popped into my head. I turned my body to the right, and I ran my arm down this thing's throat as far as it could go, which was a few inches past my elbow. It must have been a juvenile, as it was unexpecting this, and its teeth were not that sharp as of yet. They were sharp, but not too bad. I did get caught up. After jamming my arm down its gullet, I then grabbed it around its neck with my free arm and began to try and choke it out with my strength. I squeezed for a good 2 to 3 minutes. The tension in its body relaxed, and I slowly stood up, shook the goo off my arm. Talk about a smell of death. It only took a minute or so for the creature to get back onto all fours. It stood there gagging for a moment, then locked eyes with me. It gave me this look of you. Then it turned and ran off into the woods. Both of its front feet were actually hands with 5 digits, although the claw-like nails at the end were less than 2 inches, much smaller than the first one that I encountered. I didn't get a good look at its back feet. It had the most golden eyes I had ever seen again in my life. Again, this event took place at nearly dusk, so I didn't make out the colors well, other than it was dark. Not jet black, but a very deep brown coloration. Excuse me. If I had to guess, I would say it was at least 6 feet from snout to the base of its tail. This one had a longer tail, maybe 2.5 feet long. It also weighed maybe 200 pounds. It may have been heavier than that, but once again, I was lucky, and I was stronger in my younger days. I've not shared this experience with many folks, and all I ask is you keep it in this group until I decide to really share it. People have a tendency to think that you're crazy when you tell them you defeated a Dogman in hand-to-hand combat, LOL. It appears that there may be a living, breeding population of them in this spot. I'm intending to find out this summer. All right, guys, here is that undeniable proof that I have, that I've saved for years now. I have a physical copy of it. I've saved the digital copy. On top of Victor sharing things that most people, here, let me start this out. When he first reached out to me, I really thought to myself, is this guy for real? I mean, then he proceeded to tell me things, and I was like, this is strange. This doesn't seem real, And as time progressed, he started to prove that he knew too much He also never contradicted himself in anything ever, which a lot of my subs, a lot of you guys out there that have been with the channel and remember when he first came on can attest to that. So with the whole Taylor, Mississippi and Luke and everything, Luke said, I need help. I need help. This is going crazy. Victor also knew Luke's grandfather had passed away. Victor had been to Luke's house in Taylor, Mississippi, explained everything, said the layout of Luke's property. And Luke verified that. Then Luke said, I need help. Please send Victor back. Victor either did not go there. Victor had his team there. Because I'm on the phone with Luke one evening and he says, what is outside? There's men outside with green lasers and they're shooting the Dogman. Plus certain locations in California, in Wyoming, and here and here and here that he wouldn't know unless he went to. So just things were starting to really add up that he was the real deal. Whether he was sent to the channel to mislead me or mislead us or whatnot, or if he was working with the agency to do a soft disclosure like he said, I didn't know. And then I received 2 emails, which I'm going to share with you right now on the screen. There's going to be 4 pictures. 2 go together. The 2 go together. So there's 4 pictures in total, but 2 of them make one and 2 of them make another. And you will see that these are from CIA.gov. CIA, what the hell was that? CIA.gov. For those of you who don't know, you cannot create a .gov email address without being in the government. There's certain procedures and certain paperwork that needs to be sent in to make a .gov email address. But if you do it and you figure it out, a way of doing it, and you get past it and you submit your paperwork, if you add CIA to it, you are going to be on a watch list. Both these emails are from the CIA. They're sent to me. Email headings and stuff, they don't lie either, guys. They don't lie either. And I've saved these. I made printed copies. I have digital copies of them saved on discs. This really blew my mind. And here are those photos. Now, mind you, the first photo will be the top part of the email. The second part will be, because this is YouTube, I'm only allowed X amount of space, so I can't do it without making the video look goofy, and I'm not going to do that. So first one, second one, they equal. They go like that. So heading, and then the address. Check them out. These don't lie. These made me, I was fearful after these. All right, guys. Those are the emails. Those are the proof that had me frightened. I have a subscriber who worked with, was not a state trooper in South Carolina, worked with them in cyber crimes, and he looked at them and he verified that they are indeed real. I looked up about .gov email addresses, and everything that I said to you guys was true. I will never mislead anyone. To me, I would rather give you an upload of the truth and the truths than an upload and have it be a little boring than an upload full of lies and have it be exciting. Because the truth is the only thing that matters in this field. You know, my credibility means everything to me. My dad said, and I've lived by it for a long time, a man only has his word. You're only as good as your word, Jeffrey. And just like many of you guys, that's a code that I live by. You know, when I say anonymity is respected, I used Kevin's name, but JW, I could have said his real name, but I didn't. That's his initials. That I'm not going to give you his real name because he didn't say I could use it. Kevin, on the other hand, did. With that, guys, thank you for all the support, prayers. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and God bless every single one of you.